How funny is that? Every single week we go through something. I guarantee you, Shant, kind of drives you a little bit crazy. It hits your OCD button a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's this every single time I make the joke how I'm about to start the whole in 3, 2, 1. It's the Shant and Ari podcast, you guys. Episode number 42. Shant, how you feeling tonight, big guy?
Feel good, feel energized, but I don't know, man. Maybe I should take over the intros because it's like it's different it won't be as energized as you come on, but at least it'll be the same. I listen to a lot of podcasts, man. Okay, and it's like the same intro, the same ending, the same middle, and we're just all over the place, dude.
Very interesting that you're mentioning all of this because it kind of ties back with what I've been sort of preoccupied with these last couple days. Tell me how your Memorial Day went, big guy. Did you go to any pool parties? Did you get?
Yes. My parents' pool.
Did you guys have kebab? Did you guys keep a distance?
No, I tried, but my parents were like, "Oh, now it's not a big deal anymore. Before it was, now it's not." We had kebab; it was good. That's all. I mean, Arizona was. Oh, I sent you some of the stuff that was going on in Arizona this past weekend.
Absurd! It is absurd. Like how are major celebrities not concerned with the fact that there's like a worldwide pandemic? I just don't understand it.
Yeah, Floyd Mayweather was at a Scottsdale pool party. Just
what's he planning on doing? Punching coronavirus in the face? What is he? What is it? How is that?
Pool parties. I mean, Vegas. He's a Vegas guy. Vegas is shut down. He came here. We had James Harden out here, basketball player. Just a lot of things were going on, man.
So, why do you want to take over the intro and the outro for this podcast?
Because I like consistency.
Well, you like consistency, but me being inconsistent, does that make it? Is there something wrong with it being inconsistent? Does my inconsistency being consistently inconsistent not give you some sort of like entertainment?
No, it doesn't. And I don't think being inconsistent is a good thing in life. But for this podcast, it's fine. But
well,
you're not inconsistent in life, dude. It's just this intro is what you're inconsistent in.
Very true. So here's the very interesting part. I spent my Memorial Day with my buddy Steve's wife. Has a PhD in psychology.
Okay. This is what you were talking. You kind of like dropped some hints about. Yeah. Okay.
So we were sitting down, and a few of her friends from work were there, and I'm just like they were talking a lot about like work related stuff, and like one of the girls like caught my attention when she said the word burnout.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, people keep on saying burnout. Like this thing isn't an actual thing. Like, stop that. And apparently burnout, I'm like, can you define burnout for me, please? Can you tell me like what's a actual relatable thing to like a 30-year-old Middle Eastern guy? Can you just tell me what burnout actually means? She goes, well, I understand like you'd probably ignore most of the stuff, most of the symptoms, and like still go to work anyway, even if you're resenting it. But like the actual very physical most symptom is avoidance, like mental and physical. What are your thoughts on what I just said?
I mean, it's true in our culture. Like
you can avoid people. You can avoid work-related places. You can avoid products. Just avoid anything that makes you feel like this is going to be a big pain in the ass.
Well, we avoid. It's like, things are getting hard, and it's like tiring, and it's like we just put it to the back burner. We're like, it's okay. It's normal. We avoid the actual issue of like, no, I need fucking 8 hours of sleep, bro. Like it's fine.
Yeah. So when she said avoidance, it almost like struck a chord, Shant. It almost hit a fuse. I was like, okay, tell me more about this avoidance thing. And she goes, no, I charge an hourly rate of like $160. I'm like, okay. But she goes, oh, but there's this really, really good book called The Perfectionist Handbook. And that's what I've been listening to these past few days. And there's just so much interesting shit being tossed around in this audiobook. A lot of it.
Well, before you go, sorry. So she said she wouldn't, and I don't know her. Hopefully, she's probably a nice person. Like, I charge 100 an hour. He doesn't want to go into, but she's probably the type that will fucking ask you, hey, Ari, what do you think this car I could get for? Fucking, like, come on. Like,
You know what it is?
Did she ask you about a car?
No.
Okay.
Her fiance did though. You driving that Porsche out there? I'm like, yeah, dude.
What do you think I can get it for? It's all right. So the book, Perfection. Sorry, I had to just bring that up because everyone was thinking it.
So she goes through the same thing that I go through. It's like, oh, like give me psychology advice.
Yeah,
like,
I get
hey,
it.
dude, give me car advice. It's like we're going through the same thing. Like we avoid certain. Like she's an avoidant. She probably has a avoidant behaviors too, where she always tries to like avoid telling people she's a psychologist or
Yeah.
psychiatrist or whatever because she doesn't want to get asked, hey, what do you think of this? Right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's like me anywhere I go, like real estate. It's like, you know, what do you think? What's happening with the market? Blah blah blah. It's like everywhere. I actually enjoy talking about it. Like I know you do, but I can understand for a therapist, like they're fucking dealing with negativity and stuff. It's like I don't want to deal with this shit right now, dude.
Right. So I just found it very, very interesting that that's like the first thing that came to her mind as soon as she mentioned burnout. It was that word, avoidance. And I had never heard it before, but I'm telling you, bro, when it connected
Mm-hmm.
like hardcore because and I'll jump into what I'm doing about reversing it. It's actually very, very interesting. It's not that it's a humongous problem, but it's becoming one. So,
Yeah.
um, when she said it, I immediately realized that I've been doing things that are resulting from burnout. So the what's making me realize that I have avoidant tendencies are lately I haven't been responding. Actually, not lately, probably for the last fucking year. The number one complaint is that I am not responding to emails. I'm not responding to comments. I'm very, very picky about shit that I respond to, almost like, listen, like, if this email is rubbing me the wrong way, it's telling me
Mm-hmm.
that things aren't going to result in a perfect outcome.
Yeah.
Similarly, we both look at this intro as a little bit of like a nail biter. Fuck, he might not. It might not be perfect. How it was, I don't know, the first 6 podcast episodes because I thought it through, and then I started dicking around after.
Yeah.
So, just so far, Sean, what are your thoughts on what I'm telling you about avoidant tendencies and perfect outcomes? What are your thoughts on what I'm telling you?
Well, we're both kind of like that, right? Like we want it to be done right? Like, and I think I could speak for you. Like, we're the type, we feel like we could do it. We're the only ones that could do it right? And it's like it's got to be done this way, and this is the only way. And like we kind of have this. well, we have a good relationship enough where it's like, I trust you enough where it's like, okay, you have this idea, let's rock with it. I have this idea. But if it was someone else here, I'd be like pushing back a lot and being like, no, 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 we got to do it like this. It's like, so I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know where I was going
Yeah.
with that.
Oh, yeah. Like it might backfire on me. Like this person may not have my best interest in mind. So I got to like make sure that like he's not going to fuck me if I give him control.
Not even fuck me. It's just like, I just feel like I could do it faster. I could do it better. Just because it's my thing, not like someone else. Like I can't go shoot better than Michael Jordan that ball, but I just feel like if I'm like, all right, I'll just do it. Like just instead of explaining it to you, by the time I explain, it'll just be done. Let me just do it. And then the avoidance part is like, we kind of have this, and I think my brother too is like, there's issues. We just like avoid it and just like, we're just like, oh man, I'd rather just not focus on it. And like, you've seen my brother.
Yeah. I've seen your brother for sure.
I mean, you've seen that with him, right? Like you've seen that. I'm like that too, where it's like people are talking about two specific things and having a heated conversation. And I just try to avoid it because I'm just like, if I'm not in it, if I'm not really like want to get involved, I just avoid it rather than just sticking my nose into things.
Well, I feel like you're a super perfectionist, but you like to address things. You don't like to avoid things as much as I like to avoid things. Is that it? Or maybe you avoid having to
Address it.
yes, like you just maybe you're not like you try to kick it under the rug, make sure nobody sees.
Probably.
What are you doing? What are you avoiding exactly, Sean? Tell me. Like open up a little bit. What are you avoiding?
Avoiding this conversation.
Because I'll tell you straight up, I avoid emails, I avoid YouTube comments, I avoid texting like mails back. You know what I mean? Like I'm just a kind of a bad person right now.
I do get in these modes, man, where it's just like, you're right, dude. Like it'll be like a 2-month stretch, right? Like I'm in it. Like I'll avoid posting on social media. I'll avoid responding to comments like from friends and like people tagging me and shit. I've avoided this past like couple weeks. I've been getting a lot of YouTube comments. I've just been avoiding responding to them. I got a few people that emailed me like, "Hey, I'm thinking of moving." I just avoided it. Like I was just like,
because they haven't produced any sort of positive outcome for you yet.
Yeah, I was just like, whatever. Like I don't know. I get in my moods like you. Like I'm like super hot and cold, man. I'm just either like avoiding everything and just don't want to deal with it. If I have one thing I'm really focused on, this is where it comes down to. If I have one thing I'm really focused on, right? And let's say right now, because I'm with this new company, right? And my whole thing is like I'm trying to fucking master it and be really good. So I'm just really been focusing on that. So like anything else coming at me, I'm just like it's just
it's steering you away from perfection.
Yeah.
All right. So you are definitely reading this fucking book. Trust me, it's going to start making you think a little bit differently of what perfection actually is because you're defining perfection, right? And you know what your definition of perfect is.
Yeah.
And anything
Everyone's different. Yeah.
right. Anything that's slightly different from this is going to get you pissed. Like somebody comes in your way, you're going to like you get the fuck out. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like the past like 2 weeks, not that I've been avoiding like my business partner and like this investing stuff. Like I've just been like, dude, like don't bother me right now. Like I'm just like
yeah, like you're taking me away from my primary, right? And my primary vision in what I'm doing. So I think it's so interesting that we're both sharing right now this very idea that like, listen, we like things to be perfect.
mm-hmm.
And God forbid something comes in the way of us trying to master us doing something perfectly. Like God help the person or the thing that tries to come in between
Yeah.
because that shit's getting tossed to the side like faster than a fucking like a I don't know like a packet of fucking ketchup
Yeah. Yeah.
like on a thing of French fries. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever you just toss quickly off and like put it to the side real quick. That's what that is. So what I've been sort of understanding from this audiobook is if you could for a second really try to understand what is your end goal
Hmm.
real quick in what you're doing. As in, you're at work, you're at your new job, or I'm staring at my inbox and I'm avoiding shit right
Yeah.
now. I'm avoiding responding to this email because it's starting off with, "Hey, what can you get for this Ford Explorer XLT?" I know that this person isn't going to be in love with my answer, so it's already making me think, this is going to be far from a perfect outcome.
So your thing is, so I avoid because I'm trying to master this one thing. And I obviously, Betty tells me, she's like, you can't multitask for some reason. And I have to focus on one thing at a time. Is yours, are you avoiding because of it has to be, everything has to be perfect? Like, what is your avoidance, like the root cause?
So this is interesting because it is all one of the things in the book is for you to sit down and write down exactly what goes through your mind. Try to really, really focus in on what goes through your mind when you're about to do those avoidance um, activities,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So you're about to avoid something.
Hmm.
Sit and think what is actually making you want to avoid whatever it is that you're avoiding. For the most part, um, most of the time, people, when they're about to avoid something, they're imagining how things are going to go way in advance. You, for instance, you were saying something about thinking 5 steps in advance,
Yeah.
right? And I think that in the very beginning stages of any entrepreneur, any real estate person, any business person, they don't know the outcomes yet. They haven't
Hmm.
been through enough of these hypothetical situations or real life situations enough yet to know what the outcomes are. The more and more you start to get this real life experience and go through the different scenarios, scenario 1 to scenario 1000,
Hmm.
you start to realize the outcomes before they even fucking before the hello even comes out of the person's mouth.
Like, where it's going to lead to. Like, I'll give you a perfect example today. Okay. Um, so yesterday, me and Betty, we're in the office. We always look at properties. Something pops up. I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And then I'll send it to my business partner. So yesterday we saw one come up through online, and it was like great investment property rental. And I was like, oh, babe, look at this. We're looking. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's good. And I was like, all right, let's go check it out tomorrow, which was today.
Mhm.
So last night I'm all talking about this project. Okay, I'm like, this is what it's going to be. This is the rent we're going to get on this unit. This unit is this. If we fix this and this, I'm like, if we make this, do this, and it's going to be like this. She's like, can we fucking wait and go see the property before you like? I'm like, but if it's like this, we're going to do we're going to have to do this. If it's like this, we're going to probably Airbnb it. If we're going to do this, she's like, can just wait till we go see it tomorrow? And we went to go see it today. Me, Betty, and my business partner. And we're like, yeah, this doesn't work. And she's like just
You wasted fucking 15 minutes going this. Why are we like this? Because I do
I
the
don't know,
same
but
shit.
because my thing is I think 5 steps ahead, like you said, but then for every step, I think of if this happens, it's 5 more steps within each step, right? I don't know if that's like a good thing to have because like I'm always thinking ahead, but that also cripples us in that we're not in the moment because we're thinking like so many other, like 5 steps to me is like probably 100 steps because it's like 5 times each step.
Okay. So is it a good thing or is it a bad thing, right? Are we
Yeah.
discussing burnout in this sense? Listen, we're discussing the 5 steps ahead, 5 steps turning into 100 steps because you're breaking down the 5 steps into 25 different
Because
directions.
I got tired last night, bro. Like thinking about this, like it drained. I was like drained. I get drained easy because I'm like thinking. So yeah,
This is
burnout.
it. This is it. This is you are defining burnout because you're defining it because you're draining yourself. You are burning yourself out because you're thinking too much about the possibilities and you're exhausting yourself for in doing work that doesn't actually need to be done. In thinking about work that doesn't actually need
Yeah.
to be done. So I found it so interesting. So the person that wrote the book and the like basically the things that I'm listening to is that you get so caught up in how things could play out
Mm-hmm.
that you exhaust yourself. You get so tired of thinking about the possible outcomes that you never actually take any action, any fruitful action.
Yeah.
And the action that you do take is usually so carefully thought out that it doesn't produce enough result for you to be satisfied. So eventually you just become so dull. Like your motivation goes away after a while because you're taking so many safe, calculated decisions because you get to a point where you're like, all right, like, listen, I can't afford to fuck this up. Like some guy was spending, I guess, like all of his income on business consulting for his business. Like he was making a ton of money, but spending all of it on business consulting because he didn't want to fuck anything up along the way.
Yeah.
So his employees were like, why don't you just like let us work instead of just like hiring people to tell us that we're doing the right thing? Like,
So why do you think that is? Why do you think we we do the 100 steps, we burn ourselves out before we even did anything? Why?
so I think that it comes from our parents, Shant.
Because you do it too. Now that I think you do fucking do it too. It's crazy. Like I see all the time, like with your brother and like with the restaurant, you're just like thinking it's like this is gonna go wrong if we did it this way. Like I do it all the time with like it'll be 12 in the afternoon. I'm like, babe, we have to eat now. Cause like, she's like, why? Like, babe, if we don't eat now, we got a couple things to do. Then we're going to dinner at 6. If we don't eat now, we're gonna eat at 3. We're not gonna be. She's like, can you just like relax?
Fucking problem.
But like I've seen you do that too. So and it's in every way of like in our lives. It's not just like in business. It's like in every aspect.
Right.
So why?
Why are
You
we
said our
doing it?
parents. Like our kid comes from our parents.
I think it's because our parents our dads took it to a completely different other extreme where everything was a last minute decision. And we were so annoyed by that. Why are we running? You know what I mean? Why are we like going through red lights? Or like, why am I crossing the street when the cars are coming? So I think it's just a lack of control over a
Yeah.
situation or feeling like a lack of control over a situation is
So,
making us want perfect
so
outcome.
we feel like we have lack of control. So if we just think of every possible outcome, we feel like we have control.
Yes.
Fuck, man.
But it's good, though. It's good because it starts to make you realize as you're looking at a situation, as you're about to overanalyze a situation, to stop overanalyzing a situation and let the actual real life aspect of it consume you. As in, for example, earlier, I reminded myself of a time way before where I didn't know enough about Subarus to answer the lady's email back about what I could and couldn't do as a discount on a Subaru. Usually when I see the word Subaru in my email, I press select and I press delete.
That's good.
This time around, what I did was I opened it
There's
up.
a lot of people who have Subarus in Massachusetts too, I think.
Fucking assholes. They don't discount them. And these guys, they come like, well, what can you do? I have 7 different quotes from 7 different dealers. Can you beat this one by $2,000? I'm just like, you fucking stupid, man. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so I opened it up and I go, I'm fairly confident that I can save you between 10 and 12%.
Yeah.
Not thinking in the back of my head about the very most common outcome that has come from these emails, which is I already have a price better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And I shot it out to them. And the lady responded back with an email saying, I have a price that's a little bit better than this already. And I didn't let that bother me for a second. I reminded myself that it's okay that you got this answer back for the 800th time.
Yeah.
But getting upset that you wasted your time. Yes, in the short term, you're smarter for knowing not to waste your time. But in your long-term game, you are now setting yourself up for failure because now, subconsciously, you're going to assume that everything that comes in front of you may waste your time because it may not be a perfect outcome.
Yeah.
The possibility of it not being a perfect outcome. Did you expect all this tonight?
No, because you didn't tell me what the hell we were talking about. You were just like.
So I guess it's okay.
By the way, I like the non-soda drink. I see it. Go ahead.
So I guess it's okay to take things as they're coming and shut off your brain. Just open up your ears, right? Shut off your brain and do the thinking a little bit down the line.
See, I was going to ask you, like, okay, because we're not perfectionists or whatever, I don't know what you want to call it, but we want to make sure we make the right decision. So we think, right, like we have to think of all the outcomes and solutions and for every possible scenario. So we feel like we have to think about it, right? So I was going to ask you, what do we do instead? That's because we feel like if we don't, we're going to fuck up, right? Like that's.
I have the answer for that.
Well, no, you just said it.
Yeah.
You just said it, which it's listening and not trying to figure it out. Just listen to all the information. And then when it comes time for it, then you can think about it and make a good decision.
A rational decision based off of facts and not feelings.
Your dad does that so good, man. He's a G in that.
But it's not fair because he's constantly it's not good. It's not you got to find a balance.
Yeah, because he's a little too like in that, right? Like
yeah. He'll wait until he's just about to go over the edge with all your information and then pull himself back.
Yeah. It's got to be some like you gotta. I get you.
Yep. So here are my thoughts. So earlier, there was a really really good in some earlier episodes. I was talking about NLP and NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and positive self talk. In that, okay, what you've been doing in terms of looking at an email, saying to yourself, I'm going to respond to this later, that shit doesn't work. You're not going to just magically build up the the motivation at 12 o'clock at midnight to respond back to an email that you were ignoring since like 9 a.m. the same day. So what has been working for me is seeing something and immediately tackling it. Another thing that has been working for me is in the scheme of not wanting to control outcomes, is thinking to yourself, instead of wanting to control an outcome, hoping for an outcome. As in, okay, I'm gonna let whatever it is play out. I'm gonna be an active participant in this, but I am hoping for this outcome. Thinking to yourself, this is what I want, setting that aside and approaching the situation. As in, if you're out with, let's say, on a date with a girl, the outcome that you want is that I want this person to think that I am the man. Set that aside, go about your business. Don't go into the situation thinking to yourself, what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do? How am I going to look like the man now? How am I going to look like the man now?
So fucking hard, man, to not do that. Not for me, not going on the date with a random girl.
Right. It's tell yourself once, I want to look like the man, set it aside, then go in. Don't go in and, sorry.
So hard to do. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you brought this up. Did this all was brought up just from that one encounter with the therapist?
Yeah, avoidance.
She just said you're avoiding.
Yes, this is avoidant behavior. You're trying to avoid non-perfect outcomes. Perfection. You're a perfectionist not because you want things to be perfect. It's because you're avoiding unperfect or non-perfect outcomes. But realistically speaking, we are fucking perfectionists because we're control freaks. I've said this in so many other episodes. We are control freaks.
I wonder, it's why I think for me a little bit more was, so like growing up, right? So like I don't do any housework now, like as far as like putting shit up, fixing things, right? So it's like growing up, when my dad was very handy, my dad could do anything, right? He was very good, and like he'd be like, okay, son, like let's go, I gotta fix this. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, hold the flashlight. He's like, you're gonna help. I was like, okay, cool, hold the flashlight. And then he's like, okay. He's like, I'm like, oh, let me help, let me try to learn. He's like, no. Like he was a control freak, and like he would never let me like, and I would do like he would maybe once give me something, and I'm like, he's like, no, you're not doing it right. Like, hang on, let me do it. He was always like that. So I think now it's like the fact that I never got to do it. I'm just like, I need to, when I'm doing it, it's me. I'm repeating the same shit. And side note, I know we talk a lot about the bad stuff. Our parents did give us a lot of good things. So
100%.
We have a podcast. Okay. So
blessed.
They should be very proud of us.
It's just strange, bro, because I'm telling you, they were also control freaks, but nothing had to actually be perfect. We are control freaks, and everything needs to be perfect. The outcome for us, like actually, no. Come to think of it, they worry about shit the same way. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, you don't drink because you might get a DUI, and then all of a sudden, like they think about the outcomes too,
Yeah.
but they just don't know the law very well. So they're just not as concerned. We have more possibilities, we have more outcomes in our head to incorporate. That's why we probably worry more. They don't
Yeah.
have as many outcomes.
No.
So, um, working on not being as picky. Oh, same thing with women too. Like, put it this way, bro. Look, this is how bad of a perfectionist I am. I'm almost at the point where if like you have banged more guys than girls that I've banged, I won't date you.
What are you sitting there with a fucking like a spreadsheet and trying to calculate?
Maybe, maybe. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it. Like I don't even like used cars. I won't drive a used car.
This is way too much information for this podcast.
It's our fucking podcast. Do whatever we want.
I hope my mom's not listening. She's gonna be so mad at
She
you.
should be proud. She should be proud. Like that's Ari. That's our Ari.
You are the golden child of the family. So
Fuck, man. I drive a fucking Porsche now. I'm just fucking around. But no, yeah, I'm going to try and not be as fucking nitpicky about everything.
Yeah, it's wow. That's good, man. Like what and I wonder like in what aspects does everyone listening, because everyone has some sort of this. It's not just like we have it in like a lot of areas of life, but like I'm sure everyone has certain things where they're like a perfectionist that they're avoiding. So it's like think about it, man. Like what are you avoiding? And when you are avoiding it, think about why am I avoiding this right now?
Yeah. What is this stopping me from achieving? Or if you're nitpicking, what is that you're nitpicking holding you back from exactly? Why are you being a little bitch?
Yeah, and then like why are you thinking of so many different outcomes before anything's even happened? That's such a me thing, man. That's so fucking like I'm thinking like if I'm going on a like trip, I'm thinking of what the pilots are doing. I'm thinking about the fucking stew. Like is the pilot all right? Like what's going on? Let me check on him. Like everything. I'm so drained.
You're fucked, bro. Stop that. Yeah, you're you know what you're doing, Shant? You are exhausting yourself with the possibility of what if. That's the word, that's the phrase
Yeah.
that struck me earlier today before I stopped listening was stop exhausting yourself with the possibility of what if.
This is why I was so good in logistics.
Like planning, you know what I
Like
mean? Careful
fucking
planning.
every outcome, like I had it, and so I was a fucking master at that thing, man.
Well, it's not a bad thing. Perfectionist, it's not a bad thing. Apparently there's a healthy
Yeah,
balance. If you can be a perfectionist and not let the possibility of outcomes always stop you from making a careful decision, then you are a healthy perfectionist. You are an
mm-hmm.
unhealthy perfectionist if the possibility of outcomes constantly stops you from being able to take action.
Yeah,
Does that not make the most amount of sense? And you are a healthy perfectionist usually very, very early on in your career. So you're using information as it's coming to you to make the decision. You are not using um, you know, predetermined information from previous experiences
Yeah.
to make decisions, which ultimately you're not even making the decisions because you already know the outcomes for.
Hmm.
Shit, man. That's all I got for you today.
Well, I learned a lot today.
Did you really? Are you gonna try and listen to this and try and like maybe take it easy when you see something at like Costco and be like, nah, that wouldn't fit in the car. It might fit in the car. Why don't we buy one and then if it fits, maybe we'll buy a second one, and then if that fits, we'll buy. You know what I mean? Like
Today, we bought a rocker for the baby's room, and it's been in the living room the whole time because my sister-in-laws are in the room. And I'm like, I looked at it just today, and they're like, babe, I don't think it'll fit in the room, like the doorway. I don't think it'll fit in the room. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, oh man, so what if it doesn't fit? I'm like, we can't return it. I'm like, can we get some? I just started thinking of and then I'm like, and Betty's like, can we just try to see if it fits? And I'm like, it's not going to fit, but all right, fit. So it's resolved.
quickly got resolved. We just quickly tried.
I'm like looking online for new, like other options, like smaller, like just fucking, just check if it fits, man.
Just take 2 seconds. Let's just. Oh, it fit.
We're so fucked.
I love it. Oh man.
So what are you going to do this week, Adi? It's Wednesday. What do you got planned for the rest of the week?
I'm gonna make a couple of YouTube videos. I'm gonna write down a list of shit that I constantly avoid, and why, or at least why I think I avoid them. I've got a ton of fucked up things on my list of things that I avoid doing, and I'm gonna address it. I'm not gonna avoid the list of shit that I avoid.
Good.
What are you gonna do this week?
I'm just gonna try to just focus on whatever comes to me, man. Like not try to like
think of fucked up shit that you could be doing or not doing.
Yeah, because I'll tell you something offline. You'll love it. But and your brother just messaged me. I'll tell you what he told me later. It's about
I
you.
can hear him upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was fun. Yeah.
Good night, Shant.
Good night, everyone.